just people have a lot of shit to say
Yeah.
that like, what have you ever done? I mean, you want to talk about sharks smelling blood in the water?
Ladies and gentlemen, you wanted it, you got it. The place for the untold, real, raw, and juicy stories of dirt track racing. It's Dirt Track Confessions. And now here's your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dirt Track Confessions. I'm your host, Mandee Pauch Mahaney. This week, we have the man, Willie Akmoudi, joining us. Welcome to the podcast, Willie. How are you down there?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Obviously, I'm a fan of the show and everything you and Mike do, and even some of your stuff has helped make my life better with losing weight with Arbonne.
So Willie, I was trying to connect the dots here. I kind of wanted as a joking. I kind of want to jokingly be like, I'm pretty sure I met you and your wife at a campground at Middletown. The rest is history. I mean,
yeah, no,
yeah.
I definitely think, but we met at a Christmas party, which will.
That's what. Okay, we can't tell them that.
That's it.
Nope.
It was a wonderful Christmas party at a mutual friend's house, Alicia's
That's
house.
where it was.
And I mean that was it. I mean
it all started there. Oh my god! As soon as you said that, boom. Like, okay, yep. Sorry, guys. That's Fresh again. We met at a Christmas party years ago. That was a great time. So now, fast forward.
We both made a lot of fans that night.
We did. I love Becky. we're going to talk about Becky too. But fast forward, after that fun Christmas evening. Now, I remember talking on the phone with you, Willie. You were tossing the idea of starting up your own NASCAR team. And I was like blown away. I was like, this is incredible if you can make this happen. Of course, little old me was like, I can't leave my dirt roots here. But, fast forward, like, which I want you to kind of like paint the picture for our listeners, but like you have such a strong background in sales and marketing. So like, it's no surprise what you and your wife have been able to accomplish. But like, my question is, okay, you and Becky, your wife, you own your own NASCAR team. I mean, can you like, I don't even know where you start, because your life looks so different from when we met that night to sitting here right now talking to you. Like, how did this come together? And I know that's a loaded question.
You said we had an hour. So it's a blessing and it's a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is, even though we've been doing this now since 2022, when NASCAR came out with the next gen car, we had been working on like trying to do something. And when NASCAR came out with the new next gen car, it allowed a small group of people, like us, to do this because you didn't have to go out and hire 20 fabricators. And like, there's just, these cars are a lot like, I'll compare them to the dirt modifieds. You could buy a chassis, you could buy the body, you could buy the front end, the rear, like you could buy all the pieces and build a car. These cup cars are very similar to a Bicknell, a TO, Hig, whatever. Okay. Like, so that allowed us to do it. In the beginning, we were partnered with Floyd Mayweather, Becky and I, and we thought that was going to really help, just put this thing to the next level and whatever. I mean, he just wasn't into it, which it is what it is. I mean, motorsports is not for everybody, as we know. So then after kind of struggling with that for a few years and made a couple Daytona 500s and, which was, again, stories in itself, just those experiences, we had a lot on the line for that first 500 and we had a good car. I mean, Tony Year Jr., still our crew chief, very good friend, experience, with Dale Jr. and stuff like that. So he really helps elevate what we're trying to do. In that first race, our car was fast and first pit stop got a lap down because of a speeding penalty because the new dashboards, these electronic dashboards, the caution, the dots blanked out, whatever. We got back in the draft, even though we were a lap down, and on the last lap of the qualifying race, passed the car that we needed to pass to get into the race. So, I mean, talk about, I mean, I had an Apple Watch on. I mean, I should have looked at what my blood pressure was doing through that whole race.
I'm sure.
Because, you don't make that race. I don't know, even though we're still struggling to find our way and make this happen, you missed that first race out of the gate, with a high profile partner involved. Who knows, the whole thing may fall apart, right after that. And since then, I mean, we've just been plugging along and, ran a few more races that year, ran our first Coke 600, ran COTA in Texas, which was really cool. Then fast forward over that winter, we make a deal with somebody. We're going to run 8 races. Like, it's real money. It's okay. Life is good. 2 races in, guy runs out of money. Here we are at that point, had 4 guys in a shop. We had a pretty big shop, lots of overhead. Whether we were racing or not, I had to pay these guys. So, again, huge setback for us. So then fast forward, we can't even recover from that in 23. We don't race anymore. Go into 24. What are we going to do? Talking with Floyd and his team, it's like there's nothing really there. So I met the guys from Amerivet Securities in New York City and talking to them about maybe investing into the team. And then we kind of came up with the idea of, well, we're going to rebrand. Let's call it Team Amerivet, and we'll figure out a way to help veterans along the way. So go to Coke 600, make the race. Unfortunately, rain shortened, whatever. About 3-4 weeks later, I meet these guys from ForgiveCo, which is a debt relief company. We come up with this concept of taking a portion of our sponsorship dollars and putting them towards veteran debt relief. So not really sure how to make it work, but it took me about 24 hours. I came up with a concept, 50 vets a week. And to today, here talking to you, since November of last year, we've helped erase $750,000 in debt for our country's veterans. Wow. And whether it's an ambulance ride, a hospital bill, a car, back car payments, it's all a lot of little stuff, but are huge to somebody who's struggling.
Yeah.
With this coming weekend's race in Martinsville, with the partnerships that we have for this race weekend, we'll break $1 million.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's a struggle what we're trying to do. I mean, you come from a racing family. I mean, it's not easy. And, we have our own issues that you're always trying to work through every week. And we get a video, I don't know if it was December, from a lady in Phoenix that had an ambulance bill, and it had been hampering her for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. And she just randomly unsolicited sends a video to like the people that run the program, and they shared it with us. And it was just, lady was just thanking us. And I said, Becky and I were watching it together. And of course, everybody who knows me, I'm very emotional, and I lose it. Yeah. Cause it's like, it's hard. We're struggling to do what we're doing. Like it's balancing, trying to figure out what to do next. And the fact that while we're trying to build this program and trying to do stuff, as hard as it is for us to scrape by and get by, we're helping people.
That's amazing.
And helping making other people's lives better. And I don't know, it's so easy to just want to give up when it comes to racing, because it's like, how much can you take? And we do not go down this road, but the people that I'm going to call them keyboard warriors. Okay.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And the people who just have so much, can I swear?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I won't go back. Just people have a lot of shit to say.
Yeah.
That like, what have you ever done? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever like went out and did anything besides talk crap about what other people are trying to do? So we deal with a lot of that, and now it's like, oh, are they really doing debt relief? Like, are they really helping people? Like, it's just like, it's crazy. But So it's like, it's hard, you're constantly like, is this worth it? Is it
Mm-hmm.
worth being away from home? I've been back and forth between New York and Mooresville. Like, I went back home for the weekend and drove back down here, dropped the camper off in Martinsville. We were at NASCAR at 8 o'clock this morning with the car to get inspected. Now it's back here. Now we're doing setup tonight, and then back to NASCAR tomorrow. And then I'll be home next Tuesday for hopefully as much time as I can be home with Becky and Lily and Luke. But if, we got to get ready for the next race, I'll be back down here in a week or two. And
Yeah.
so my truck is a 23. I think I hit 48,000 miles on it.
Yep.
Yesterday.
So many people don't realize the commitment. And we could totally go on a whole rant about keyboard warriors, but we're not going to give them the time of day, Will. But it's true. You're chasing after a dream, you're making it happen. And I love that you're also like making an impact alongside of chasing your dream, because that's a 2-in-1 right there. You're helping other people, but you're making your own stuff happen. And that I don't know if you probably envisioned that happening when you first, because you were like, I want a team, like, I don't know, Willie, 20, 30 years ago, was this your dream? Like, was this a goal of yours? I'm very curious about that. Like, did you envision this, or did this just pop up one night at dinner table?
No, if you go back 30 years,
Okay.
I was 21. I was still an aspiring driver.
Yes.
I wanted to race in the Daytona 500 myself.
Mm-hmm.
And some people don't realize, I was not to the Daytona 500, but I won a lot of asphalt races. I won championship. We were very successful when I was driving, to the point where, I met with Richard Childress about driving Xfinity for him, or well, it was Busch Series. I'm dating myself back then. So, my path along the way was I wanted to drive. And then as I got older, and realized I couldn't afford it. So then I kind of just dabbled in the local stuff a little bit, and then even got away from it for a couple of years. And then, the Halmar part of my life, I met Chris Larson, and I wanted him to go asphalt racing with me, and he convinced me to go dirt racing, which I was like, man, I kind of got away from that and had a lot of fun. There's nothing more fun than a dirt modified. Big block, small block, they're fun. We got to go to some cool places. Another rewarding part of that section of my racing career was because Chris Larson was crazy. I don't know how else to describe him. Again, I got to help a lot of other people. Stuart Friesen is racing a truck full time in a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series because of me. I put all that together, and I helped build all that, and Matt Janiak and Mike Rickey and Allison Rickey and a lot of people. I was able to help. Because I couldn't race that much. Chris wanted to race every night of the week if he could.
Yeah.
So I guess part of one of the reasons why I've gotten beat up so much in racing, and I guess I don't always put myself first. If I see opportunities to help other people, I always try and do that.
Yeah.
I'm learning right now in the NASCAR world that you can't do that. Like, you really
got to put yourself first.
You got to put yourself first, and you have to be very careful, because we think dirt racing's bad up by us in the Northeast. You want to talk about sharks smelling blood in the water. If you bring a sponsor, the guy we're bringing to Martinsville this weekend, he's been helping me since our first Daytona 500. He's been helping us. And now all of a sudden he announces a full sponsorship for Martinsville. All of a sudden he's like, dude, I got 15 proposals yesterday.
I believe it.
From NASCAR teams. It's like, holy, so it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
And we really, this is a family team. We're here. I have people that, who's off from work, who's coming down. My brother-in-law, Jimmy, who has been with me since the beginning, built my first pure stock that I raced at Lebanon Valley. Our core group of literally pure stock, excited because we got matching T-shirts at Lebanon Valley. Like literally that core group of people, including Becky. I mean, Becky's Jimmy's little sister. I mean, she was kind of hanging around us at that point, but she was just a little kid. Because she's younger than me.
Yeah.
Like that core group of people have literally went from a pure stock of Lebanon Valley to the freaking Daytona 500. And we're, I mean, I'm not saying this because it's me sitting here talking to you about it, but it's a damn cool story, and it's not, maybe my craziness has kept it going, and like we can do this, convincing people that this is a great idea. I'm really good at that. That's kept a lot of things going. And, the fact that, we go to a cup race and, we have really one full-time guy and one part-time, Ryan, my son who goes to school down here, the rest is all volunteers. Like it's really a true David versus Goliath scenario, because I don't own 160 car dealerships like Rick Hendrick, and I don't own who knows how much crap Robert Prensky owns, but I'm certainly not. Becky and I are not on the top 10 Forbes list. More towards the bottom of that list.
Not yet, Willie. Not yet. So that has me curious. Is like, what would you say is one of the, leading off that, like the biggest misconceptions, people have of running a NASCAR team? Because it's not all freaking sunshine and rainbows. And like you said, it's a family operated team. You don't have hundreds of people underneath you.
Yeah, well, I mean, misconceptions, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good about putting it out there, of just how hard it is. Us being an open team and not having a charter, we're not, with an exception of Daytona 500s, we're pretty good for prize money. But I mean, these other races, the prize money barely covers the tires. I mean,
oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we'll spend this weekend about $19,000 at Martinsville for tires. We're allotted to certainly, I think 9 sets. Yeah,
just tires.
Just tires. So $29,000 was our biggest tire bill. In our first Coca-Cola 600, $29,500. Yep. So I mean, we are, like you said, it's marketing, it's sponsorship. It's like if we don't make enough sponsorship to go, it's a losing proposition. A couple weeks ago, Bowman Gray last month, we were punching well above our weight in that race in the last chance qualifier. We had gotten up to 6th, little judgment, bad call on our driver's part, got spun out, it was $45,000 to fix the car. So instead of a weekend where it's like we had decent sponsorship, the race actually paid okay money to be there. So instead of coming out of the weekend with money to breathe, and when I say breathe, not make money, breathe. Pay the rent in the shop, pay the guys for a couple of weeks, pay, just pay for stuff. It's like crap,
So maybe I should know, but I don't know. It's not like maybe they promote it everywhere, but like, what does a NASCAR race even pay to start? Like, is it structured like modifieds, Will?
So each race is different.
Okay.
A lion's share of the race, the Daytona 500, as an open team, we are eligible. There's a $17 million purse. And then you get a percentage. You get like 0.8%, 0.89%. 0.9, like it just goes up as you get further up. Outside of the Daytona 500, most of the races are $2.6 million purse. That as an open team, that is not the revenue share from the charters. So like this weekend is $2.6 million. I think it pays $22,000 to start. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot of money. Well, but it's going to cost us $125,000-ish to go.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's in some of the races, depending on, if we go to a mile and a half, a bigger track, like when we go to Charlotte in a couple of weeks, hopefully, or May, or Daytona, the bigger tracks, our engine bill for the weekend, just the engine bill is $85,000 to lease the engine for the race.
To lease
So,
it.
you know, you
Damn.
take that and then, you know, $25,000 tire bill, and, you know, you lease the pit crew guys, they come, you know, they work for bigger teams. So we get like their training groups, the guys that want to be on Kyle Larson or Kyle Bush's or Joey Logano's pit crew. Like we get those guys. Like Ryan, our oldest, he works on the truck team, so he carries tires. So he's been training for 2 years. Finally, this year he gets to go over the wall for a truck team, and then hopefully next year Xfinity, and maybe the following year. So
that's exciting.
So yeah, I mean I guess your misconception that you asked me about, that's probably what it is. Like we're not. I don't want to say we're not in it for the money, because obviously we're trying to figure out a way to make a living doing this.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just because we have a car, just because there's 2 cars sitting here in the shop, you know, one of them race ready, one of them's got to get put back together. I mean, if we don't sell sponsorship, none of this works.
And that's what it all comes down to. It sounds like it's sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does. I have to lean very heavy on the training that I got when I was selling equipment and what I was doing really before I was doing this. I mean, I was always able to raise enough money to race myself, because you can always sell yourself, you know, because nobody's going to sell you better than you sell you.
Yeah.
This is a little different because it's a couple more zeros. You know, I'm not asking for, you know, the guy up the street to give me $500, you know, so I can buy tires for a month. No, it's like, I need $50,000 and I'll give you the hood and a little spot on the side.
God. So
with our new program, though, we have had some doors open for us that we haven't. You know, getting away from Floyd, you know, just because he wasn't everybody's, you know, cup of tea, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
You know, and now having basically a race team, the only NASCAR Cup Series team that's owned by a first grade school teacher. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm the co-owner. Becky owns the team. You know, like, I had to tell her I was doing this because I'm supposed to be here working.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I did go through her first.
No, she did. She gave me permission. She said, you got an hour. As soon as you're done at 3:00, you best be back in there helping the guys get the car ready. So
tell us, I love that. So tell us, like, your family life. You know, well, you've got your one son down there by you, right? He's kind of pursuing, I don't want to say similar path, but in the same category per se.
100%. You're correct.
You know, and like you said, you're driving back and forth. Your wife's teaching. You got 2 kids. I mean, still in school. Your oldest is graduating. I mean, how do you balance it? Because obviously they're all supportive of this.
Yeah. So we're still trying to figure that out.
Let me know when you do.
Yeah. It's. So yes, Ryan is 100% pursuing the same thing. The minute I walk out the door, he thinks he's running everything, which is good because listen. I like the fact that he's willing to step up and do stuff. And then we go to the NASCAR race, and some of the officials that he works with the truck team, you know, they're coming over and he's talking to them. Yeah, I did this. Oh, great job, Ryan. You know, and like, damn, you know, and now I go to some places like the one parts place. I walk in and they're like, "Hey, Ryan's dad." And I'm like, "No, not Ryan." You know, like, so yeah, he's doing really good. Now Luke, our 17-year-old, he designs the cars. He designed the car that we ran at Phoenix. He's designed the car that we ran at Bowman Gray this weekend. So he's into that. He runs our social media for us, which, you know, I wasn't sure how that was going to be, but he's doing a great job with it. I mean, he basically got in a little bit of an online battle with Ricky Stenhouse after Bowman Gray, which I thought was pretty funny. And, you know, finally, you know, Ricky had called me and he's like, "Man, I don't appreciate that." I'm like, "It wasn't me." I said, you were talking smack with my 17-year-old kid.
17-year-old.
Like, what? Yeah. And he's like, "Oh." I said, you know, so, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that, you know, Ricky Stenhouse puts his post-race Daytona 500 report out and gets 22,000 views, and like Luke messes with him with a picture of him and Bert, and it got like 315,000, you know, because that's what it's all about. I mean, it's all about impression. Like I'm selling it. That's just another facet to what we do, you know, is, hey, you know, if you sponsor us and we put something out there, you know, 500,000 people are going to see it. So So he's doing a great job. Lily's Lily. She's Daddy's little girl. It's hard because she does not like when I leave.
Yeah.
And even when you tell her like, "Hey, I'm leaving Sunday. I'll be back the following Monday," whatever. Like she don't like it, and she gets upset. And then it's like me. I'm trying to be strong, but I don't want her to think So I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I don't want you to leave. I said, Lily, I'll be back. And then, well, why can't I go? And unfortunately, our first two races this year are short tracks where they don't let kids into pits. Like our camper's not in the pits. Our camper's outside the pits. So our first two races, she's not able to go with us because as much as she wants to be with us, well, in the driver owner's lot, there's like a daycare thing where all the owners and drivers' kids hang out.
Yeah.
Well, she likes that. She don't want to come be with mommy and daddy and Ryan and Luke. She wants to go here and be with her friends at MRO, motor racing outreach, whatever it's called. Like that's what she wants to do, which is fine. We all have to have our reasons for being here, but it's tough. And what's really hard is, as you know, with your relationship with Becky. I mean, and we feed off each other.
Yep.
And support each other. That's hard to do when you're 10 hours apart. And and we've experienced a couple of highs. And what I mean by like I'm here, she's there, we get a sponsor, it's like something great happens and we want to hug each other and we want to, and it's like and that sucks. And then when there's like, you think you got something going on or something bad happens, I'm here, she's there. You don't have, I don't have her and vice versa to lean on each other and embrace and support physically. And I don't, you know what I mean by that? You know what I mean? It's just, so it's, that part of it just sucks. Like that is the worst part about it. Understanding the end goal and putting the work in, like we signed up for that, but it's the being apart sometimes when you really need to be together. It's hard. It's like really hard. Like really hard.
Mike and I mean, let's see. For most of the listeners, they know like where our house is in Jersey, it's 5 hours to the race shop. So I mean, we're not doing 10, but we're doing 5 almost every other week. And I'm over here building my career while Mike's over here building his career. And same thing as you and Becky is like, you have the end goal, where you're going, you're supportive of each other, you want to be there for each other. But oh my God, Willie, our breaking point, I mean, I pray you never have to go that long, but like 2 weeks of not seeing each other, like physically in the same room. Oh crap. Okay. All right. Yeah. We get to like day 10 and I'm over here like, okay, just know it's just because it's the distance, like everything's going to be fine, but it's hard. 4 weeks. Oh my God. I can't even.
Twice. No, twice. And it is. No, I and when you talk to Becky about this at some point too, I mean, when we first, in 2022, when we were building the Pit Viper car, we came down, I think January 6th, January 7th, whatever it was. And it was like the first weekend in February. And I snapped. Like I don't want to say I snapped, but I was on the phone with Becky and I was just like, because there was a lot of highs that month, a lot. Yeah. We came down here and started working on the car before we even announced anything. So now all of a sudden you got social media breaking on stuff and this interview, that interview, XM, NASCAR radio, like all this stuff going on, and we weren't able to enjoy it together.
Yeah.
And I know listen, I love her more than life itself. Like,
yep.
So it's just, I need her. and she'll probably say the same thing, that it's just, it's the distance sucks. So that was a 4-week stint. And then finally I left my truck down here. I flew home for like 3 days and it was great. And, and then we came back, and then a week and a half later, we were all in Daytona together. But now I leave my truck here. Like I don't even. There's a flight from Albany to Concord, which Concord's just south of Mooresville,
Mm-hmm.
and it door to door from the house here to home or vice versa. It's 5 hours flying on it because
You
Albany's
gotta
easy to
figure it
get in and
out.
out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and why do I do that? A couple reasons. One, it's 5 hours instead of 10.
Mm-hmm.
The way the flights work out, I can work either here or be home, almost all day and get down here and it's like $60 each way for the plane ticket when you buy
That's
in
not bad.
advance versus
That's not bad.
$200.
Damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus $200 for a tank of diesel in my
I
truck.
was just gonna say that. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like $140 cheaper, 5 hours less time. So, like I drove up, got the camper, brought that down here, and then yeah. So
There's a lot of moving pieces. I mean, Mike, I'm sure you and Becky do it too. Like Mike and I sit down at the beginning, actually before like at the month end. So at the time of this recording, guys, it's end of March. So like we're gonna sit down and plan the whole month of April. Like where are you gonna be? Where am I gonna be? What makes the most sense traveling wise? Because like sometimes we'll end up in a place where we both have our vehicles and we're like, well, how do we like this is great, but now we're both driving both of our vehicles separate 5 hours. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So piecing that together, because well, with Becky in school, can she attend some of the races or?
yeah. So Martinsville, because with a teacher, she only gets so much time off.
Yeah.
So Martinsville is one of those places where it's in the middle of nowhere. Like Martinsville actually reminds me a lot of. Have you been to Martinsville?
No.
Okay, so
I know where.
Orange County, yeah. So Orange County Fair Speedway, right?
Yep.
You can almost drive. I don't want to say you can almost drive by it, but like Martinsville, just like Orange, it's down in a hole in the middle of a town.
You wouldn't know it's there.
You wouldn't know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So
great.
because of that, there ain't no airports closed. There's nothing. I mean, it's 2 hours north of where we are here. So she's going to teach on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Her and a couple people are going to jump in the car at like 4:30, and they're going to drive all night to Martinsville.
Yeah.
And then she's going to take Monday off. She'll take a personal day on Monday so she can drive back. Now, other places we race, I don't want to say it's easier, but Charlotte, it's easy to get back to either Albany or Newark. Late Friday night, late Sunday night. But yeah, I mean, she's only missed one race, and that was our second race in Coda.
That's not bad
because she took a bunch of time off for that first Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
So she skipped Coda, but back home in New York, they had a watch party, and I think there was 150 people there and rented like a wedding venue that my brother has, and they had the race on the big screen. Oh, it was unbelievable.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, she tries to do everything she can to.
And again, there's people that just think, "Oh, Willie, you are so lucky." And I laugh because
when it comes to Becky, absolutely, blessed.
Yes.
I
would take Becky too.
Yeah, but I tell people like, oh, we love watching what you do on Facebook or whatever it is, Instagram, whatever they're looking at, and I say, I got to figure out how do I post at 1:00 in the morning when I'm sitting in front of my computer, like I'm sitting here talking to you right now. How do I post a picture of me sitting there like this with the calculator and the pen going?
How miserable it is. Yes.
How am I going to, how are we going to pay this? Because it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I mean, this thing, there's ever something you want to say is a house of cards. I mean, it's trying to build a NASCAR team when you don't have millions of dollars in whatever behind you to do it.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like you kind of answered this, but I'm curious if there's another tidbit, because my curiosity is being at this level of racing, because you've been through several different levels. Like what would you say is a strong lesson learned. And what I mean is you touched on, it was Willie, you're witnessing pregnancy brain. Oh my God, what was it? Tell me Becky used to have pregnancy brain, please, so I don't feel so silly.
She had pregnancy brain.
Okay. You putting other people first. That's what it is. That you mentioned that like being in NASCAR, that's something that you're learning, like, okay, you got to put you first, you got to put your team first. But like, have there been any other lessons learned, like being at this level?
Yeah. I mean, planning ahead, like you said, looking down the road, putting a car together, like okay, so we're looking at Martinsville next week. What's the so it's really just, it's planning ahead, just like you were saying with you and Mike, looking at the month coming up. And it's hard to do because I'm sitting here talking to you right now. I'm not 100% sure when our next race is going to be. We thought it was going to be potentially the Coke 600 Memorial Day weekend, but I got a call 2 hours ago about a company in Texas that may want to do something at Texas Motor Speedway. So like, as much as I'm sitting here right now saying, all right, yeah, we're planning ahead, it all changes with one phone call. It all changes.
Yeah.
So I guess, you watch the show Big Brother? You ever watch that show on CBS? Right.
Yeah.
Like Julie Chen says, expect the unexpected.
Yep.
Because I can literally get off the phone with you and
completely different.
Jesus, I hope it's true. Somebody I sent a 10 race proposal to 2 months ago calls me up and says, hey, we want to do it. And now, holy crap,
Yeah.
Or the 3 people that say they want to do the Coke 600 in May say, yeah, we're out. And now we're right back to habit. So it's just, it's hard because you don't know.
No, there's nothing concrete.
Yeah. I mean, last year, that first race, the Coke 600 as Team Amerivet, Becky and I did it without a sponsor.
Wow.
Because we needed to get out there. We needed to show the world that we were not TMT anymore. We were our own thing. And you could sit and say it 100 times. You could post it on social media. Until you go out there and do it.
Yep.
And show people this is what we're doing. It's just talk. I mean, we're still paying for that race. We're still paying for it. So, but we had to do it. Again, it was we're trying to invest in our future, trying to invest in this new brand. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So on a positive note, Willie, what would you say has been one of your proudest moments so far of accomplishing all you've accomplished thus far?
Probably, that's kind of I can't sit and tell you a specific one. And what I mean by that is, when we go to a race now and my son, Ryan is working with the NASCAR officials and like, he's his own person now. Like, I bust his chops because it's my dad it's my dad responsibilities, right? To stay on my kid's ass about stuff. But I mean, he comes here, he shows up for work. He knows what he's got to do. He's emailing NASCAR. Like, he's just, so that's very proud,
proud dad moment.
But yet people walk up to the car. Oh my God, this car looks amazing. Who designed it? Well, my other son designed it. So it's hard not to sit and say one means more than the other because it's, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of them. At a NASCAR race, I know you've been to a NASCAR race before. We're standing out there, we're standing next to the car, and they're doing a national anthem, and the plane's flying over. If you look at any point during that thing, I'm literally standing there with tears in my eyes every time because I don't want to say that's what you work for, but that's at that moment when you're standing there and it's Becky and I holding hands and, Ryan and Luke, sometimes Lily, those moments are special because that's like, it's the calm before the storm. It's, I don't know. It's hard. We've had some pretty amazing moments, but I mean, the ones that hit hit the hardest, are
Yep.
those ones when the family's all together. My dad's there, and Becky's mom comes, and and I lost my mom a few years ago, and she would be right in the thick of this, and Becky lost her dad a few years ago, and he would be right in the thick. So like, it's we know they'd be proud. I don't know. A family's got a lot to do with it, and
Yeah.
again, Jimmy's with us. He built my first car. We literally went to the junkyard, bought an old race car, cut the roll cage out of it, welded it in another car, and then literally like 20 years later, he's doing updates on a $400,000 cup car.
Insane.
And he's like, man, we come a long way. Doing, putting a new bar in there, and I don't know. It's just the family stuff. And then Jimmy's daughter helps us now. She travels to the races with us, and she's on the pit crew. So I mean, it's just like, don't get any more family than this. I
No.
want to say that's probably my proudest moment, is that Becky and I are able to include, so many family members and friends that are like family, that come to the races with us and help and stuff like that. So
I can attest that. I feel like
that's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
We made a couple Daytona 500s. I mean,
yeah, but the family's involved.
the family's involved.
It's such a racing vibe, though. It's 1,000% the racing vibe. Everyone always like praised my dad of, oh my god, like you're so great, like lucky your kids are around. And I'm like, listen, if there weren't racing, who knows where we would be? What kind of relationship that our family would have? It's what kept us together.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tony Urey Jr., our crew chief / friend. I met him January 7th in 2022. I walked into the shop. He looked at me, and some people may have seen him on Dale Jr.'s download and know of him a little bit. He is one of the funniest freaking people you ever met.
Yeah.
He walked in the door, and he literally turns around and looks at me, and the car's there, and a bunch of the parts have showed up already. And he goes, you think we're going to be Daytona in 28 days? And I'm like, not only are we going to be there, we're going to make the race. All right, rolled up my sleeves, and Jimmy and I started helping, and 28 days later, we put the car in the shell. I mean, Becky and I and the kids walked in his wedding last year.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
the bond.
The people up here or back home, like now all of a sudden we have friends down here that are basically family.
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
so
family. To me, it's family.
Yeah, 1,000%. You're a family man, Willie. You are a family man. I respect that. So if you could go back and give yourself advice at the very beginning, right? When you were just piecing together, hey, this is what I want to do, would you have done something differently?
Are you enjoying this episode, want even more, or want a closer connection to the DTU fam? Join us over in Club DTU, where you'll receive early access to all of our podcasts, live race day updates, exclusive content, special merchandise, discounts, a community chat, personal recognition, and so much more. All inside one place, Club DTU.
Which time we have left?
Oh, God. I mean, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good.
There's not one single thing. I mean, there's a lot of little things where at the time you think, all right, is this a good decision? It's just, we bought everything to build 2 cars from the beginning. And we had some other people helping us with it. I could not afford to go out and buy all the stuff to build 2 cars. We had some other people, helping us out a little bit. That I shouldn't have done, because before we even got the second car together, NASCAR changed a bunch of crap. I mean, we literally brought $40,000 worth of parts and pieces to the scrapyard. I mean, bumpers that before we bolted them on the car, they changed. So, I mean, stuff like that are the things where, like, you asked me that question, I could sit here and chat for an hour telling you like things like that. I want to say I should have just did this whole Team Amerivet style family racing thing from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I don't know if not having Floyd involved in the beginning was not going to attract like Pit Viper.
Yeah.
I mean, Pit Viper's the one that came in and got us to our first couple of races.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wish I would have done this like we're doing it now with Becky in the beginning. Her being more of on the owner side and me just kind of running the day-to-day stuff. But I don't know if that would have. I don't know if it would have went anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not one specific thing. There's probably a lot of little things. Like I would have never, even when we got that big sponsor, would have never rented that big ass shop.
Yeah.
I mean, that was between the utilities. I mean, it was $9,000 a month, and you know what I'm saying. And we didn't race. So I mean, I was able. The guy was cool about it. He rented it. I was able to get out of there. I mean, now we got a nice little shop. It's very affordable. It's not big, but I mean, there's 2 cars. We could fit probably 4 in here if we grow.
Gets the job done.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's a lot of little things that I would have do different. If I knew then what I know now, but then I
think there's a song about that.
Yes, there sure is. Maybe if I knew what I know now, then what I know now, I would have said, "Nah, we're good." Let me just go sell backhoes and bulldozers, and
No,
be home
you're doing
every day at 5 o'clock.
Willie, I look at what you're doing, and as hard as it is, like leaving Lily and not seeing your family for days, weeks, whatever, like I look at that as you're chasing your dream and you're showing them to chase after their dreams too. It comes with sacrifices, but that's when I look at a man like you or Becky or anyone that's out there like going after something as a role model, as a parent, like you want your kids to do that. You want.
I agree. And Becky says the same thing. Becky, and she says it too as well. Like we're showing our kids to not give up. And,
yeah.
And not. I mean, I don't want to say not take no for an answer, but I mean it's.
Don't tell your kids that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of no's.
Yeah.
With all this stuff, it's like we're still after it. This will be. I mean, I don't want to say this is a make it or break it year, but this season something's got to give. Whether it's somebody else coming in here and saying, "All right, listen, we love what you're doing. We need to get behind you and help you, go from here to here."
Yeah.
Because we're like this is all we can do. Like we're maxed out. Because like I said, Becky's been basically the glue holding all this together for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And something's got to happen.
I always say it, like you said, it's one phone call. It could be one phone call, and you just got to keep showing up until that happens.
And that we're definitely doing.
Yeah. Just make sure your phone is charged.
Yes. It's on charge right now.
Good man.
I've gotten 27 text messages since we started talking.
Well, lucky for you.
It's race week.
It is, yeah. Lucky for you. I have one more question for you, Willie.
You're good. You're good. I don't have to clock back in. Becky gave me till 3 o'clock.
I mean, we did start a couple minutes early. Oh gosh. Oh, no pressure.
No, you're good.
Well, I feel like this was such an informative episode, but because like I always like to leave my episodes with something inspirational, which I feel you can totally do that. Now, like that's your ballpark here is a piece of advice. It could be for anyone. It could be about anything. It doesn't have to be just racing. It could be career. It could be your family, what advice would you leave someone that's wanting to chase after their goals? Because like that's what you're doing, and you're making sacrifices, and it's not showing 110% promise, but I think you're making it happen. I'm impressed.
I appreciate that. And I will say this, and this is I should be able to say this without getting choked up or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can say things sometimes. The biggest thing, and I when I say this to you, I'm saying this to you like real time what we're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to chase your dreams. You have to have goals. But you need to, while you're chasing those dreams and trying to build something or trying to do something, you need to pay very close attention to what's around you. And, whether it's, in my case, Becky and the kids, don't destroy something and don't ruin anything because you're so focused on your goals
Yeah.
that you lose sight of the only thing that matters. And for me, it's Becky and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about this, and sometimes I don't want to say remind each other because it's her reminding me, and not that, and it's not that I lose focus of that. I'm very conscious of it, and that's I guess that's a big piece of advice I can get, and I don't care if it's racing a pure stock at Malta on a Friday night or whatever it is. Like, racing is a great sport. It's very rewarding. But I'm telling you, more often than not, I've seen it, you've seen it, I'm sure your dad's seen it, Mike's seen it. I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It can take everything. Money, life, everything. So in this particular case, my takeaway to leave you with is, like I said, just it's great to have goals, and it's great to say, this is what I want to do. But just don't keep an eye on what matters most, and don't destroy that when you're trying to get to something else.
This is why I love you and Becky, because we relate so much, because that's something. Let's see, Mike and I, we've been together for 9 years, and that has been something I've been slowly engraving in his mind. I'm like, I support you in your dreams and your visions, as he supports me in mine. But I'm like, we cannot, and it's hard. It's very hard to say this, because you see successful people and they give 110%, 24/7 to get to where they are. But at the same time, it's like, well, you need to live. You need to enjoy the time with the people that you have right now, because tomorrow is not promised. And so I always have to have that conversation with Mike to reel him back in and be like, listen, like, when was the last time you and I went out to dinner? Just you and I. When was the last time we dated each other? Because I'm sure with you and Becky, especially kids and all that you guys have been going on, like, it's a lot. And so I respect that immensely, because I'm 100% in line with that. Because especially for me, growing up with my family, my dad was always like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's the next race we're going to win? What's the next championship we're going to have? And so I was always engraved that. And then I'm trying to almost decondition myself, if that sounds correct, from the hustle culture. Because, like, you want to achieve your goals, but at the same time, you have to be grateful for where you are and the people you have, and not burn those bridges, or whatever that might look like. Because
whatever it is, yeah. But yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's a crazy world we live in, and I don't know. I'm very overprotective of my kids. Like, Becky, I'm a worry wart. Like, I mean, whatever it is, like, I worry.
Yeah.
And now here we are, like, we're in New York a couple weeks ago, whatever it was. I was back home, and Ryan's in Vegas because he's pitting the truck. He's working on the truck team. And here I again, worried sick, and I'm looking at his location. And Becky said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I mean, Ryan's in Vegas. He's 20 years old, and, like, we're here in New York." And she's like, "Well, what happens if something happens?" I'm like, "I don't know." And it's just, you're heading down that path.
I can't wait, man.
It's like, we watched his location. He's gonna watch this. He's gonna laugh, but, like, I said, "Oh no, he's going right back to the airport." Because with these teams, they fly in for the race, they do the race stuff, and then if you're not pitting on Saturday or Sunday, well, you'll go home that night. If he was pitting, like, he's gonna start doing some Xfinity stuff this year, so then, like, he'll have overnight, so he'll go race Friday night with the trucks, stay wherever they are for the night, and then go back to Saturday, and then go home Saturday night. And I was just like, he's at the airport. He's coming home. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's just, and it's all because of NASCAR. It's because of racing. Bringing him, and he got spoiled. Like, we would go meet Stuart wherever because we'd fly private. So we can go race the trucks, and then Stuart can get back to go race whether it was Fonda or wherever. So
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan's really been like really involved with the truck stuff since he was
It's amazing.
9, 10 years old. So
It all ties back to family, Will. All ties back.
yeah, yes it does.
Okay, this was amazing. Thank you for taking the time, and shout out to Becky for allowing Millie to have the time. I will make sure to text her. Definitely would love, I don't know if she'd do it, but I would love to have her on here. I think having her side would be the icing on the cake. But I always love, like we talked about, like seeing people thrive, chasing after their dreams, and I just love hearing the stories, like cool. Like we'll circle back. We met at a Christmas party how many years ago doing God knows what. And here you are, and the family that like just everything you've accomplished. It's incredible. And I really do. I mean, obviously I hope everything turns out. You're going to have that magical phone call because I'm looking forward to going to the races, and because I don't get to go to NASCAR races much, but I'd love to go watch you, Will.
Well,
Watch you guys win some races.
All three is.
Yes, all three. Absolutely. Well, thank you. Best of luck. And to all of our listeners, be sure to like this, share this, give Willie some extra love and their team. And we'll catch you all right back here next week. Thank you, Willie.
Thank you.